Northeast Wisconsin at the U.S. Venture Open. This year, a couple thousand people will take part as that annual event celebrates 40 years. Tees off with that multi-course golf scramble and family-style dinner on Wednesday. This event raises millions of dollars for local nonprofits through the support of the Basic Needs Giving Partnership. Greg Vandenberg, who is Director of Giving and Community Engagement for U.S. Venture Inc., joining us once again. We were here last year at this time, so we're checking back in because now we're at 40 years of the U.S. Venture Open. Started back in 1986. So I think we did it last year too, but let's go back to the original, like how did this begin, this fundraiser begin?
So the Schmidt family, who are the founders of the company, three brothers, they've just always had this mantra that, to whom much is given, much is required. And the community had been so good to them, continues to be so good to us. They really felt it was a moral imperative to give back. And so they looked around and said, what could we do? Golf is something that obviously runs deep as a hobby for many people, and just saw it as an opportunity. Maybe we could raise a little money. And it just, it is amazing to see what 40 years later, what has become of that idea.
Yeah, I dug into the history a little bit, and for that very first one, just under 100 golfers, and they raised just about $40,000 for one specific charity. I
Correct.
think diabetes at that time.
Yes.
So, so that was a very good start. But then you look 40 years into the future, and now we're talking about 1,200 golfers plus some concert goers, and 7 courses, and millions of dollars raised.
Yes, $5 million this year is the goal. Okay. So we used to rotate every 3 years. We would do a golf outing for diabetes, one for needy children, and then also one for Alzheimer's. And then about 15, 16 years ago, the J.J. Keller family and the Schmidt family really just had a handshake agreement and said, we think there are a lot of people struggling in northeastern Wisconsin. There's a lot of people in poverty, and look at what we could collectively do as two families, and using the U.S. Venture Open really as that sort of platform to end poverty. And so ever since that point, every dollar raised goes to end poverty in northeastern Wisconsin.
The Basic Needs Giving Partnership, which is formed, and that grants out millions of dollars a year.
More than $6 million this last year were committed to nonprofits from the Green Bay area, Fox Valley, and Oshkosh areas.
And you're giving these all to local charities, local nonprofits that make a difference in fighting the root causes of poverty.
Correct. And 2 key pieces, we ask nonprofits to collaborate and to innovate. Their nonprofits, work hard every single day, incredibly committed staff, often underpaid compared to market value, and they do it because they have a passion to help people. Our theory of change around it is poverty is incredibly complex. Not one organization can solve it, and so how can a number of organizations who work in this space work together to really wrap around an individual and a family and really get to those root causes? So how do we, feeding someone food insecurity is really important. Getting a roof over their head is really important. And we fund all those things. And how can we get upstream on some things to either prevent generational poverty, or how do we make an impact so it just doesn't continue and it's a hand up and not just a handout?
Right. So when we were here a year ago talking about the 39th, and you had said the 40th was going to be a big one, and you wouldn't give any secrets away, but now you can talk a little bit more about really what's become a really big week for next week.
It has. So we always have our welcome reception Tuesday night at our headquarters in Appleton, and then we're thrilled. Honestly, it has been one of the greatest pieces of feedback or amount of feedback we've gotten on one of our guests of honor, and so we're thrilled that Jeremy Renner is going to be our guest of honor. So Wednesday he'll be joining us out at Venables. For those of you who may not know Jeremy Renner, he's most often known as Hawkeye from the Avengers, from the Marvel Cinematic Universe. My wife and I love Mayor of Kingstown, which is the current series he's in, and has been nominated for a couple Academy Awards. And his memoir, which recently came out, actually is in the top 10 of the New York Times bestseller list, and it is amazing. I read it in a weekend. It's one of the most compelling, inspirational stories I've ever heard. And the thing that amazes me is, as he's been out doing publicity for the memoir, He's been on Joe Rogan's podcast and Oprah's podcast. I don't know anyone who's been on those two podcasts. So
he spans generations.
Exactly.
And spans a lot of definite fandom, I think.
Exactly.
What do you say to the folks in Northeast Wisconsin who have come back and supported this, and the companies? You have so many partners, so many businesses that have partnered with you over the course of decades. What do you say to them about supporting this event and the Basic Needs Giving Partnership every year?
So I think the differentiator is, because US Venture is proud to pay 100% of every expense of the event, every dollar that a company, a family foundation, or an individual gives, it goes out to end poverty in northeastern Wisconsin, and we're able to provide them this incredible experience the day of. And so it's really, you don't see things where we're able to leverage both those things together. And again, the differentiator is this is a regional approach to trying to end poverty. We're a transient sort of population from Green Bay to Oshkosh, right? I live in Little Chute. I'm up in Green Bay and down in Oshkosh all the time. And so some of those more local efforts don't always have the maybe impact and scale that we would envision being able to really move the needle on poverty. And that seems to resonate with again, those donors or those partners of ours. I also think we have so many of those legacy donors who really have been there from the start, Oshkosh Corporation being one of those. And it just is amazing to see year after year them showing up in pretty amazing ways at huge levels. And we take that really seriously. We want to steward those dollars going out to those nonprofits the best that we absolutely can. How can we get as much impact as we can for every dollar that goes out the door?
Always a great event, always a great turnout, always great amounts of dollars being raised. $5 million is the goal. So we'll be tuning in on Wednesday of next week to see exactly how the US Venture Open shows up and shows out. Congratulations on another, I'm sure, wonderful event.
Well, thank you so much. And WBAY, you guys are incredible partners. It's great to see you partner with us. It's a great cause, but we couldn't do it without you.
Thank you.